Stand up for me, please. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to work tonight to keep you awake. Is that a good deal? All right. We did have somebody one time who fell asleep in the middle of our talk. I did not take that personally. But how many of you are tired at the end of the night? Yeah. And so I'm going to keep you busy so that you won't fall asleep. And I want to know, excuse me, let me put that out of my way. I like to keep our talks kind of small like this so that I can really reach each of you personally and get to know a little bit about why you're here so that I can really talk about what's relevant to each of you. Is that good? Good. Sound like a good plan? So what I want you to do is if you or someone in your family, someone that you're close to, has been affected by cancer, I want you to sit down. That's most of the room. Do you know the statistic is, the current statistic is that 1 in 2 American adults will have cancer in their lifetime. So if you think about, if it's not you, then it's the person next to you. If it's 1 in 2, right? That's shocking, isn't it? What about depression? If we sit down, if someone close to you has experienced depression, and I would have to sit down for that one too. How about a show of hands, those of you who had someone close to you experiencing that? And think about when we were kids, that didn't happen, did it? No. People are getting sicker and sicker at younger and younger ages, right? And that just makes me fighting mad, and that's one reason I'm here today, because I don't want that to happen to anybody that I know, anybody whose voice I can reach. Thank you for participating. I appreciate that. So think then up with me about, I'm thinking about the things that I fear as I get older, or that I used to before I started doing this. What about brain conditions, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's? How many of you have someone close to you that experienced that? Okay. Thank you for sharing. My grandmother had Alzheimer's, and she was in a nursing home. She was in a fetal position for about 10 years. And what did that cost her? Everything. It did. It cost her everything. It cost my children the opportunity to know her. I knew my great-grandparents, but my kids didn't get to know her. And I am willing to do whatever it takes not to be there. So as we get older in our country, we just expect our health to do what? Decline. To decline, don't we? Isn't that just depressing? No wonder we have so much depression in our country. Do you know in other countries that does not happen? That is common in our country. That is not normal around the world. So you do not have to accept that. If there was a different way, if I could show you a different path so that you didn't have to accept cancer and depression and Alzheimer's and failing health, would you be interested in hearing about that? Yes. Of course you would, right? That's why you came tonight, right? Because what you want, I'm guessing, is you would love to find a way to get confidence in the strength and health of your body, even as you age. Would that be fair to say that? Is that why you're here? Okay. So later on tonight, I will share with you some action steps that you can take. I'm going to share information with you. You're going to get information. You're going to leave here tonight learning things that you have never heard before. When does knowledge have the power to transform your life? Thank you for answering. I was going to say this is participatory. You guys just blurt out answers, okay? Whenever I ask a question, you just give me the answer. So absolutely, when you use it. When you use it, that's when you can get transformation. So I guarantee all of you are going to get information, but what you're here looking for is transformation. That's what you want, because you want your life to change. So at the end, I will share with you action steps that you can take that I know will give you the best chance for transformation. Okay? Is that fair? I'm going to tell you one thing you can do right now. Get out those pieces of paper that were on your chair. And one of them has our Facebook pages on it. Does anybody know how to eat an elephant? You guys are so smart. I've never had that many people get it. So on that piece of paper, it looks like this. This is a great way for every single one of you to stay connected with us. So you could get out your phone right now and go to our Facebook page, Tammy Stewart, CHC, and like us on Facebook. Because some of you tonight are willing and ready to make small changes. Some of you have been so sick for so long that you're ready to turn your whole life upside down so that you can get the life that you deserve. Does anybody feel like that's you? Like, I'm ready to just knock down the walls and get better. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Good for you. So you may have a different action item at the end of the night, but every single one of you can follow us on Facebook. Okay? Is that a good deal? Then, what I would also love to get your input on is one of my focuses is to share the truth about health with as many people as possible. Because in our country, healthcare is worse and worse and worse. And I grew up on a ranch. Has any of you ever seen a Mad Mama cow? Yeah, I can tell who has because of the look on your face. And that's, and I'm going to share with you in a second, I'll share my story. But I was that Mad Mama cow when my kids got sick. And that's still inside of me for the health of our country. Because we do not have to accept the kind of illness. You have a choice. And I want to reach as many people as possible. So before you leave, if you would please fill out this survey. I want to know things like, where did you hear about us? Community Impact News, Suburban Parent, the little magazine you get at the health food store, or maybe Facebook. So I want to hear how you found out about us, or maybe a friend told you. I also would love to hear, and you can write on here as much as you want, I would love to hear how you feel about our communication with you. Because believe it or not, when I first started, I've been doing this more than 10 years, and we would contact people and say, oh, you just signed up for our event on Facebook. And people would say, I did? And I'm like, oh, friend, you've got really bad brain fog because you have to go to the page and fill out your address and everything, right? Yeah. How can you do that and not know what you did? But it happens. So I would love to hear the emails that we send you, the text messages, I think you got a voicemail recording. I would love to hear, did you get too much? Was it annoying? Was it just right? Do you prefer text? Do you never answer your phone? I would love to get some input from you. That would be really helpful to me if you would help me with that information. Then, this is our last piece of housework here. You've got this page, the questionnaire. On the questionnaire, if you will just write the first answer that comes to mind on a scale of 0 to 4. 0 means I never have that, and 4 means I have it frequently or severe. So there's no special science to it, just severity. 0 to 4, write down the first thing that comes to mind. And then I will interpret this for you. So if I forget, you remind me, all right? Somebody take responsibility for reminding me to tell you what this means. Thank you. So let me share with you then why I'm here. You know when you're a kid and you think, when I grow up, I want to be fill in the blank, right? This was the farthest thing from my mind. My dad was my science teacher, 7th through 12th grades. We obviously went to a very, very, very tiny school. And when I started doing this, I know he's in heaven laughing. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you're doing this, but he's also saying, you can do this. Because he believed in natural health and healing, and in the body's ability to heal itself. How many of you believe that God designed your body to heal? Excellent, thank you for that. I believe 100%. That is the certainty that I have no matter what is happening. God designed the body to heal when we remove the interference. And that's what we do. It's different from all the places that you've been before. So the thing that pushed me here, this was a really, really strong push. How many of you have children? Almost all of you, okay. You would do anything for your children, right? Especially as moms, we would sacrifice ourselves for our children, right? And as dads too. So our son, when he was a senior in high school, came to us and said that he felt depressed. And we started praying about that, which is always the first thing we should do, right? And I believe in miracles. God can absolutely create a miracle. So we prayed for months, and then he came back to us and said, Mom, I'm still depressed. So then where do we go? Where did we take him? To the doctor and because that's all I knew to do. And how many of you have been to multiple doctors to try to get better? Anybody? More than one? Yeah. So we went to the doctor, and what did the doctor give us? Medication. And he felt a little better. And we went back the next month. And what happened? Increase the dosage. And the whole time, I am this mad mama cow. Asking all of our doctors. I mean, I took the one that I knew the best. I took his face in my hands and I was like this with him. Tell me why. Why is this happening? Has any of you felt that way? Why is this happening to me? I looked at my son's life and I didn't understand because I thought depression was emotional. And it can be. But it can be physical. So I'm going to take a long story and make it short. We found mold in our house. And we got rid of the mold in our house. We did mold detox from the body. Some people have a gene that makes it very hard for their body to detoxify mold, and we have that gene. So just getting out of the house would not have been enough for my family. Plus, in the meantime, we discovered, well, I don't know why I say discovered, because as a child, when the thermometer broke, what did Mother say? Don't touch it, right? We knew mercury was toxic, and yet they put it in our mouths. I had 8 metal fillings. If you can see it, it is, we call it silver. There's not silver in there. It is 55% mercury. And we know mercury is toxic. But how many of you know a practitioner who specializes in cellular detoxification for things like mold and mercury and Lyme and things? Anybody? 12 years ago, I did not know anybody. There was nobody here to do that. So in order to heal my children and my husband and me, in order to save my family, I had to learn how to do this. That's why I'm here. I had to go back to school. Any of you gone back to school when you were in your 40s? Oh my goodness, the only reason I would have done that is for my children. So I had to go back to school. I had to start this business on my own, which was the farthest thing from my desire. And my kids got better, and I got hope for myself. We figured out what causes Alzheimer's, and we figured out how to avoid it. And at that point, my family was safe. And then I had a choice. I could take those things that I learned and save them, and say, thank you, God, for saving me and my family. Or what else could I do? I can share it. Thank you. And that's why I'm here. And a lot of times people come into this room and they expect a salesman. And that's the farthest thing from my skill set. My life is not going to change tomorrow based on your choice tonight. Whose life can change? Yours, and who else's? When your life changes, who else's life? Your family, your friends, everybody that's around you, right? We spend thousands of dollars on advertising for every one of our events. So I'm not here looking to grow a big business. I'm here looking for a few of you tonight who are ready to do whatever it takes to get it. Is that fair? Okay. So thank you for listening. That's why I'm here. Now I want to listen. I want to understand why you're here. I know I'm in your way of seeing this screen, aren't I? Okay. So let me move over a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to minute, I can't sit still. I'll be up walking around in a minute. But I would love for just a couple of you to share with me. When you saw our ads and you looked at those symptoms, how many of you have suffered from some of those things more than 10 years? Yes, some of you. Okay. Would a couple of you be willing to share with me which of those things are causing a problem for you? Tell me what it's like.
Well, the weight gain. Excuse me,
Weight
the weight gain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really heavy. I've come down a lot. Probably 8 pounds
Okay.
over the last 2 years. So, but still, I still have problems.
So how many of you have experienced weight gain and you go on a and you go on a diet and nothing happens? And how does that make you feel?
Like I'm on a
Yes! Why not? Right? That is logical. I would feel the same way. Because if you're going to starve yourself and not accomplish anything, you might as well enjoy it and eat donuts and be happy with eating the poison, right? Thank you for sharing. Like, we're all going to be real with each other tonight. So you tried diet and you didn't lose weight, and other than the moment of, I might as well eat cookies, what else? How else does that make you feel? How does it make you feel about yourself?
I didn't lose weight, but I'm in my things of depression, things brain fog, things irritability.
And then you're like this downward spiral, aren't you? One thing builds on top of another. And then at some point you just feel hopeless. Have any of you felt like that? Have you felt hopeless? Or skeptical? Many of you said you've been to more than one practitioner. So how many of you feel skeptical that really, I'm going to go listen to this person tonight, but do they really have something that'll help? Does anybody feel skeptical? Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate that. That is perfectly reasonable. So you try diets and exercise and you can't lose weight, and then you feel like a failure, like you must have done something wrong, like you aren't enough, like if you could just have enough discipline, you could lose weight. Does anybody feel like that? So what else? Someone else share with me.
I feel toxic. Eating fat stores toxic.
Exactly.
It weighs me down.
You are
emotionally
so
and
wise.
physically, and the excess estrogen it holds,
Yeah.
the mercury it holds, all that stuff is being held in my body.
Yes, you are very wise. I used to do, but I don't do diabetes talks anymore. I do thyroid talks for that reason. When I get a room full of people who have thyroid and autoimmune symptoms, they have done research. How many of you has consulted Dr. Google? Ever? Yes. And I'm guessing most of you don't. In fact, let's say it. Would everybody please raise your right arm? Thank you. Just want to be sure that it works. All right. Raise your right arm. It works. Thank you. I appreciate that. Very good. So you're very wise to understand that. And the rest of you, by the end of the night, you are going to learn things that you've never known before about why. How many of you are on thyroid medication and you can't get better? Raise your hand for me. Thank you. Okay. And how many of you go to your doctor, you have all those symptoms, and he runs blood work and he tells you you're normal? How many of you feel like that? Yeah, usually we get half the rooms on medication and still have symptoms, and half the room, the doctor says they're normal. And how does that make you feel when he says you're normal?
I know something wrong.
Good for you. Good for you for listening to yourself and being persistent. How many of you still have hope? There's got to be something out there that'll work. Who has hope? Of course you do, or you wouldn't be here, right? So I'm going to ask again, how many of you have hope? Excellent, thank you. Thank you for participating. Because I know there's something else you could have been doing tonight, right? There's something else I could have been doing tonight instead of paying Facebook and all those newspapers a ton of money, and I could have been home with my family doing something fun. But I love being with you tonight because when I see that hope inside of you, that fuels my fire. Because you are worth every second that we're going to spend here tonight. Because when you leave, you're going to know what's causing your problem. In order to solve any problem, what do we have to start with? Exactly. Knowing the root cause. That's the first thing we have to do. And then after that, in order to have transformation, what do you have to do with that knowledge? Use it. Exactly. Okay, so are you guys ready to go to science class? Okay, thank you. I'm going to keep it really simple because I'm not the scientist. I'm going to keep it really simple and make it really relevant for each of you. I can't summarize until I teach, so first I need to teach you. So I'm going to teach you 4 things, 4 reasons that your thyroid medication is not working and you still have symptoms, or why you go to the doctor and he says your blood test is normal and yet you still have all those symptoms. But let me ask another question first. How many of you have been diagnosed with any kind of autoimmune? Raise your hand for me, please. Thank you. Okay. So, first of all, which organ produces TSH? The brain. That was a little bit of a trick question. The brain produces TSH. Do you know there has never been a study showing that if you have a normal TSH level, that you have a fully functioning thyroid? Did anybody know that?
What's TSH?
TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH. And just because you have a normal level does not mean that you have a fully functioning thyroid. And yet, what blood tests do they do to figure out how much medication, whether you can have medication and how much? TSH. So at that point, does that make you a little kind of angry, crazy, mad? That the test that is used in the medical community is not even proven to promote fully functioning thyroid. And that's what I want for you, is a fully functioning thyroid. Is that what you want for yourself? Right? Full function, to be the best you can be. So the TSH, the brain produces TSH, tells the thyroid to produce what? What hormone does the thyroid produce? T4. Yes. So you're a little too smart. So in your liver, T4 gets converted to T3 in the liver. Everybody needs a pen and some paper to write on. You've got lots of paper there, so you can just write on the back of it. And does anybody need a pen? Because Heather has pens. Thank you. Thank you. Hold your hand up, and Heather will bring you pens. And if you need extra paper, just raise your hand and wave at Heather, and she'll bring you some paper also. You may have enough. The reason I want you to write down on your paper everything that I write, yeah, you're not going to go home tomorrow and study it, that's fine, I understand that. But it puts it in a different place in your brain. It keeps you participating, and you're going to get better results when you participate. Is that fair? Okay? So, number 1, T4 converts to T3 in the liver. T3 is the active hormone. T3 is the what? Active hormone. You guys are great. You're catching on. I want to hear those words. T3 is the active hormone. It's the one that does all the things that we think the thyroid does. Tell me, what symptoms? What does the thyroid control?
Everything.
Everything. That's true. What else? Energy. What else?
Regulate body temperature.
Body temperature. So it's your thermostat. What else?
Cellular growth, basically.
Yes. What else?
Your metabolism.
Exactly, your metabolism. So T3 is the hormone that does all those things. T4 gets converted to T3 in the liver. What's your liver's job?
Purify blood.
Detoxification and purification. Do you think your liver might be overworked? Oh my goodness, yes. Compared to a couple of generations ago, enormously overworked. Does your doctor ever teach you that the liver might be the cause of your thyroid problem?
No.
That is the first blood test I want to look at. I assure you, your doctor has run that test. You can just email it to me before your appointment, and I will look at that, and we can know if that's part of your problem. So number 1, liver. Number 2, I'm going to give you a crazy story. When you have the flu, what do you feel like doing? Sleeping. Is that what you're supposed to do when you have the flu? When you have the flu? Yes, you're supposed to rest, right? So a few days later, a week later, what happens? You get better. You get your energy back, right? So what the body does, remember T3 is the active hormone. It gives you energy. When you have the flu, the body wants to stop the energy. So it increases our T3, reverse T3. Reverse T3 stops the T3 from working. So you should have just had a huge aha moment. Are you wondering, I want to get my RT3 tested, right?
Yeah.
Because that could be the cause of the problem. Is the medication going to solve that? It's not. Your doctor has to stay inside standard of care. Do you understand that? He has to legally. So you go to the doctor when you feel what? Bad. And he does what? He runs a test. And based on the test result, he tells you a diagnosis so that he can prescribe a medication. He has to do that. He has to stay inside that box. Now, if you want different results than you're getting inside the box, where do you have to go? Outside the box, exactly, and that's where we are, outside the box. The average American wants a quick fix. Well, honestly, don't all of us want a quick fix? I want a quick fix. Of course we want a quick fix. The average American just wants to take a pill. That's all they're interested in. They're not willing to invest the time that you are investing tonight, investing in your health, investing in yourself. The average American is not willing to change their diet, change their lifestyle, do whatever it takes to get better. It's like eating an elephant. It can be a lot of work. You need a coach to teach you and motivate and encourage and support you. You need a team of people doing the same thing so that they can share success stories with you and you can all grow and improve and heal together. The average American does not want that. The average American is content to go to the doctor and get medication. So the doctor is serving the average American. He's doing his job, right? So that's fair for him to do that. But if you want to get different results, you need to go somewhere else. So, number 2 cause of the problem, if RT3 is high all the time. There are 3 things that cause RT3 to be high all the time. So I want you to write these things down. 3 stressors. Number 1, chemical stressors. And that's my specialty. My training is very narrow, toxicity and cellular health. My specialty is very, very deep. My knowledge is very deep. I'm part of a nationwide group of practitioners. Many of the doctors in our group, all they do is research. We're always learning the best, fastest things to help our clients get their health back as fast as possible. So you've got a lot of resources. It's not just me that you're working with. It's hundreds of practitioners nationwide. So number 1, chemical stressors. Number 2, physical stressors like the flu, like poison from mold. Number 3, emotional stressors. Have you ever had an emotional stress and you just feel tired all the time? That's your body giving you high T3 to rob you of energy so you slow down and take care of yourself and heal your heart. So if RT3 is high all the time, then what's going to happen to T3? It's not going to work, is it? So that could be the second problem. Number 3.
What is the 4th one? 4 reasons?
Oh, 3 reasons. Sorry, 3 reasons. Chemical, physical, emotional. All right? The 4 that I said to begin with is 1 is liver, 2 is RT3. We're getting to 3 right now. Then we'll get to 4. So number 3 right now is cellular inflammation. Which of your organs, this is a trick question, which of your organs is made up of cells? All of them, thank you, you're awake. All of them are made up of cells. Your cell, every single one of your 75 trillion cells, is made up of 2 layers of fat on the outside. Do you want that to be good fat or bad fat? Good fat. Good fat. Good fat, absolutely. So that the good stuff can come in and the bad stuff can come out. When you are eating bad fat, which the standard American diet is full of bad fats, healthy fat is the number 1 most lacking ingredient in the standard American diet. So when your diet has lots of bad fats, then the good stuff can't get out. Your cell becomes like a toilet that won't flush because the toxins can't get out. So 2 layers of fat on the outside, plus countless receptors for all of your nutrients and all of your hormones. When your cell gets inflamed, it's kind of like if you cut your finger, how does it feel? It hurts, and are you going to want to use it? No, it's gonna heal, it's gonna get better, right? That is inflammation, and that's temporary, and that's what's supposed to happen. But when all of your cells, all over your body, have extreme inflammation all the time, what kind of symptoms are you gonna get? All kinds of symptoms, right? When I first filled out this questionnaire that you have, I thought, what do all these things have in common? I feel all these symptoms, and honestly, I was more healthy than most of my friends. But in America, we don't really know what true health is. I was very sick. I had a very high score on this. And I looked at that and thought, what do all these symptoms have in common? Did any of you wonder that when you looked at this? Now you know. The cell. Every one of these organ systems is made up of cells. So when you have inflammation at the cellular level, you can get tons of symptoms. Here's the good news in that. When we focus on cellular healing, where's the benefit going to come? Everywhere. My goodness, isn't that exciting? The benefit comes everywhere when you focus on one thing. Focus on the cell. So when your cell is inflamed, those receptors get burned out. So your hormones quit working. Anybody know the hormone that tells your body to burn fat for fuel? Yes. The hormone is called leptin. And when researchers discovered that way back in the 90s, they were going to create this drug. Of course they were. They were going to create this leptin drug. They started testing leptin. What they found, because they thought, okay, we've got overweight people. Leptin tells your body to burn fat for fuel. They must not have any leptin. And that sounds logical, right? What they found in a blood test, their leptin was sky high. Here's what was happening. The leptin receptor was burned out. The body was screaming, burn fat for fuel, and the brain couldn't get the message. Just like when you're talking on your cell phone and you drop the call. Where was the problem? Yeah, the reception. Maybe you were in a canyon or a place where you couldn't get reception. So which hormones do you think are going to get disrupted when you have that inflammation? Yes, and all of them, any of them, right? Hormones, think about sleep. Hormones put you to sleep at night, keep you asleep all night, wake you up in the morning, feeling refreshed. You should not need an alarm clock. You should be able to wake up in the morning, refreshed and ready to hop out of bed and attack the day. You should have energy all day long, and in the evening, you should feel tired and be able to go to bed and go to sleep promptly. Does anybody experience all of those things?
Every hour.
Yes, every hour. All of them in every hour. Thank you. That's a glass half full. So your sleeping hormones, your mood. When you're in a bad mood, who suffers? Everybody suffers. And I remember before I started this program, I was just maybe going into menopause, and there were days that I was just grumpy. And I would stop and think, wait a minute, I'm being really grumpy. Why am I being really grumpy? I don't understand. Who is that? Whose voice is that? That is not me. Has anybody ever felt like that? Yeah. There is a solution. You don't have to suffer like that. Think about your other hormones. Diabetes. You eat food, which hormone goes up first? Your blood sugar goes up, which then tells your insulin to go up. Insulin brings the glucose into the cell to give you ATP energy, the energy of life, the energy to function. If those cell receptors are burned out, what's going to happen to your blood sugars? They're going to stay high all the time. Does it matter what you eat? No. What if you eat a zero-carb diet and your blood sugar's still high? Here's the answer. This is why. Let's think about your hormones, your thyroid hormone. How many of you are taking thyroid medication that is either T4 or T3? Who's taking one that's T4? Okay. Is somebody taking, like Armour? Armour is T4 and T3, both combined, okay? And yet, they're obviously not working, or you wouldn't be here, right? So now you understand why you're taking that medication and it's not working. Why is it? Because your receptors are burned out. So is anybody wondering, how much inflammation do I have? Is anybody wondering that? You can feel it, yes, you're right. You know how much inflammation you have. Is anybody wondering what causes that inflammation? 3 things. I want you to write this down. Yes. Number 1, toxins, what you just said. Number 2, sugars. Grains turn to sugar in 4 seconds in your body. And number 3, bad fats. So toxins, sugars, grains, bad fats cause the cellular inflammation. So in theory, you could read a book and go on the right diet and accomplish 2 out of those 3, right? Now it would be easier if you had a coach who could answer all of your questions and guide you and walk beside you step by step. But then for toxins, what's another word for toxin?
Poison.
Poison. Safe detoxification has to be done very, very carefully. Has any of you ever done a liver cleanse or a colon cleanse or a blood cleanse? Anybody, any kind of cleanse, or a juice fast to try to cleanse, okay? Those things can cleanse the body a little bit. Did you ever do one of those and you felt rotten? Yeah. If you feel bad when you're detoxing, you're not doing it right. If you feel bad, that is damaging your body. So when I say detox, number 1, I mean cellular detox. Number 2, it has to be detox from the brain, not the body. So we're detoxing the cells in the brain. That's what we do that's different. That is our specialty. Cellular detoxification, and it has to be done safely. So in your chair, you have that roadmap. And it has all those pretty pictures and pretty colors on it. And I don't have one of those in my book, but you guys have that. You can just hold it up. So it's all those colors. And safe cellular detox, thank you. I have to have props. Safe detox has to be done in the right order. First of all, you need to nourish those organs. Why would you ask your organs to work without nourishing and strengthening them? We already agreed your liver's overworked, right? You need to nourish those organs. Then you open up the detox pathway. If the toxins can get out of your body into the toilet, then they're not going to hurt you and make you uncomfortable and make you feel bad. Safe detox will not make you feel bad. Then we move into the brain phase. So we have a map here that we go through. Everybody will go through this at a different rate. Safe detox really needs to be done custom, one-on-one, with lots of good instructions. So cellular inflammation really is the cause of the problem. How many of you have tried supplements? Anybody take some natural supplements? Have you done chiropractic or massage or acupuncture? And you've done exercise, right? And you've tried diet. You've tried all those things. How does that make you feel when you try all those things and you're still suffering? Like you're not good enough. You're not doing enough. It makes you feel defeated. It makes you feel exhausted, hopeless, powerless, weak, like your cells, like your body is betraying you. There is hope. There is another way. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. So number 4, we're going to talk about autoimmune really briefly. I'm going to give you just some basic information about autoimmune. What is the commonly accepted definition of autoimmune? The body doing what?
Fighting against itself.
The body attacking itself. Okay, I'm going to challenge that. Do you think the body might be too smart to do that? It sounds like that's not a good idea for the body to attack itself, right? It really doesn't sound like a good idea. So I'm going to challenge that. I'm going to tell you why. Let's think, I'm going to ask you some stupid questions. Just go with me. It's keep you awake, right? And participating is putting it, you're getting really smart because you're participating. So you eat food and it goes into your stomach. What happens in your stomach? Yeah, it gets broken down into the individual nutrients. In the wall of your stomach, it's supposed to have really, really tight junctions so that the only thing that can get through are the individual nutrients. Can get through the wall of the stomach into the bloodstream carries them all over the body. That's what's supposed to work. However, when you have this inflammation in the cells in the gut, you get leaky gut. You get loose junctions. The junctions get big. and then the big chunks of food can get into the bloodstream. Does the body think that's normal? No. So when there's chunks of food in the bloodstream, what's the body attacking? The food, the foreign invader. What kind of autoimmune might we call that in the gut? Several words for it. Colitis, what else? IBS, what else? Crohn's, what else? Diverticulitis, celiac, all of those are gut autoimmune conditions. Let's think about thyroid autoimmune. Let's say that this is your cell receptor for iodine. You have to have iodine to create T4. You have to. You cannot be allergic to iodine. It is physically impossible. However, there is a right kind and a wrong kind of iodine. There's a right time and a wrong time to take iodine. So please do not go out to the health food store tomorrow and buy iodine, okay? All of you, I need your promise. I will not go buy iodine tomorrow, okay? Because, has any of you ever had a thyroid storm from iodine? The iodine can throw the toxins off of the cells, and right now your detox pathway is closed up. So where are those toxins going to go? They're just going to get recirculated and make you feel awful. So don't go take iodine, okay? Iodine, what if there's a molecule of mercury sitting on the iodine receptor? It's kind of like if you guys are third graders and I'm standing in front of the room and the principal walks by and thinks, oh, the substitute teacher's there. I promise you I cannot teach third grade. I cannot do that job. If mercury is sitting on the iodine receptor, it's blocking the iodine. The mercury is the foreign invader. Are you supposed to eat mercury? No. So what's the body attacking? The mercury, the foreign invader. What if this is your selenium receptor and there's a molecule of lead on it, sitting there like a magnet? What's the body attacking? Lead. So in thyroid autoimmune, what would we call it? There's two words for it. Starts with an H. Hashimoto's or
Hyper or hypo?
you said you were glad you didn't have Graves. Yeah, so hyper or hypo, Graves or Hashimoto's. So then the body is attacking the foreign invaders on the thyroid. If you've got arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, what's the body attacking? Yeah, the toxins in the cells in the joint. So the thing all of those have in common is they start with gut inflammation. So in order to solve the problem, what do you have to do? Heal the gut. You've got to get rid of the inflammation in the gut, right? So that is autoimmune. How many of you have gone to your doctor to say, would you please test me for autoimmune? I think I have thyroid autoimmune. Anybody done that? Yeah, that's what they love to give, isn't it? Just, one time I had a sinus infection, and they wanted to give me an antidepressant. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, excuse me. So when I first started doing this, probably 12 years ago, my friend went to the doctor and said, I want you to test me for autoimmune, because it sounded like a good idea, right? Let's define the problem. He said, I can't do that, because why do you think he couldn't do that? It's outside of the box. Because his tool is medication, and he said there's no medication for thyroid autoimmune. Now, nowadays they're giving medication for that. It does not solve the problem. In fact, those of you on medication for thyroid, how long does your doctor say you're going to be on that medication? Forever. Therefore, by definition, did it solve the problem? No, it's not solving the problem. It's not even covering the symptoms. If it was, you wouldn't be here, right? So are all of you like mad right now? I want to get a response out of you like, I'm fighting mad. I'm ready to get better. Who's ready to get better? You want to talk about that? Okay, we're going to talk about that in a second. Now we want to talk about toxicity. Is everybody ready to take the next step? Okay, so we're building a foundation. We're building on your learning. Because we're identifying the cause of the problem. And when you know what's causing the problem, how do you feel? Hopeful and empowered. Exactly. Thank you. So I'm going to summarize really quickly. If your doctor says your blood work is fine, and therefore you must be normal, you must be fine, it could be a hormone receptor problem because of the inflammation. It could be a liver problem where you can't convert T4 to T3. It could be that RT3 is high all the time because of chemical, physical, or emotional stressors constantly, or it could be autoimmune. In our office, we run different tests. I'm going to look at your liver function. I want to see RT3. I want to see it in a ratio with T3. I do want to do some autoimmune tests. However, you could do an autoimmune test, and if you get a positive response, you've probably had it for 10 or 20 or 30 years. And the doctors will tell you that. That test is the best they have, but it's not accurate. It can give you a false negative. So we're going to run different tests, and we're going to look at different ranges. Some of you have asked me this. You go to your doctor, and he gives you that blood test, and he gives you a range, right? For him, that range allows him to give you a diagnosis and a medication, because that's his job, right? I'm looking for a different range, because what I want for you is what? Exactly. I want the best for you. I want optimal function. So I look at functional ranges. So I'm going to run different tests, and I'm going to look for different ranges. Let's talk about autoimmune just for a second. And I'm sorry, I know you can't read that very well, especially from the back of the room. If you'll draw on your page, draw a three-legged stool. If there was a stool with 3 legs and one leg was broken off, would you sit on it? No, that would be kind of stupid, wouldn't it? So 3 things that contribute to autoimmune. The leg on the left is genetics. Have you ever heard, oh, your grandmother had thyroid, so you're just going to have thyroid, right? Do you think that every single one of grandmother's descendants is going to have a thyroid problem? No, that's not logical at all, is it? Therefore, there must be something more to it, right? What does Michael J. Fox say about your genes? Do you remember? He says your genes are like the bullet in the gun. When does the bullet hurt you? When it hits you. He says the environment is the trigger that triggers the gene. The environment can turn the genes on so that your body expresses whatever your genetic weakness is. But your genes are not your destiny. We can turn the gene off, just like we can turn off the light switch. Your body can heal. Yes, exactly. That's right. So the center leg here is, what does it say? Stressors. Very good. It's easier for you guys to read than for me. We've already talked about stressors. The stressors cause the inflammation that causes the autoimmune. The inflammation turns on your bad genes. So you see the common thread here is the inflammation. Number 3 is the microbiome. The inflammation disrupts the microbiome in the gut, which can turn on your bad genes. Also, other toxins, vaccines, parasites, bacteria. There's a little bitty word there. Carcinogens, things that cause cancer. Pollution, toxins, germs, viruses, mold, heavy metals. Lots of those toxins are causing the inflammation that's causing the problem in your body. So, does it make sense for you to go back to the doctor and keep on taking that medication? No, it doesn't. Because it's not removing the cause of the problem, is it? However, let me come back and say, I don't want to mislead you. Please do not just quit taking your medication, okay? There is a right way and a wrong way. Why would you quit taking it? When you're healed, when your body doesn't need it anymore. Our clients get off of their medication with their doctor's support. That's really important. They get off of it with their doctor's support when they don't need it anymore. Because I just believe your body's designed to heal every single time. That's the good news. Now I have bad news. I don't have a quick fix. And I don't have a magic pill. I wish I did, but I don't. I have a process that works every time. But yeah, she's like, okay, I'm out. Okay, that's what I was looking for, the magic pill. Thank you. Now, on your paper, I want you to draw a bucket. And all of the toxins that you've been exposed to since conception fill up your bucket. And you get symptoms when your bucket is overflowing. So I want to do a quick demonstration. If the four of you would stand up, please. Your body absorbs toxins, from 4 generations. So pretend I'm the kid. Do you know that children in this generation, for the first time, are not expected to outlive their parents? Isn't that heartbreaking? Just ought to make us all mad enough that we're ready to do whatever it takes and share the truth with whoever will listen to us scream the truth from the mountaintop. So pretend I'm the child, all right? You, all of us, grew up in the lead generation. There was lead where? Everywhere. It was in the gasoline, it was in the paint, it was in the pipes, it was in the water, everywhere. Grandmother was born in, I don't know, so if, 40 years ago. Grandmother lived in the lead generation also, right? Great-grandmother, she also lived in the lead generation. Great-great-great-grandmother, she really didn't. She didn't have running water, right? She didn't have toilets. She didn't have cars. So she didn't have a lot of lead. Lead builds up 4 generations. Now, if you'll stand up and be the next one, so you get my lead and her lead and her lead and her lead.
That's why I'm so heavy.
Yes, because of the stinking lead. Exactly. 4 generations of toxicity. That's why people are getting sicker and sicker at younger and younger ages. Is that something you've wondered? Thank you for that. I appreciate it. So it's generational toxicity. And God designed the body to heal when we remove the interference. Get the toxin out of the body safely and heal the cells. Those are the 2 focuses of our program. That's why we do this different. Has anybody else been telling you about that and solving that problem for you? No. That's why those things that you're doing, while many of you are doing good things, it's not enough. This is the missing piece of the puzzle. So let's think about all the toxins. What I want you to do is in your bucket, I want you to start filling it up with these toxins. I'm going to list the ones that most commonly cause thyroid because that's kind of our topic tonight. So number 1, heavy metals. That's lead. All of you need to write down lead. Let me look around here and see if any of you are young enough to know. All of you have lead. Let me show you my son's lead test. This is the test that we do in our program, typically around like 3 or 4. My son was born in 1993. He was never directly exposed to lead. And that's his lead. Off the chart. Off the chart. Then, the next year, much better. Instead of in the red, he was in the yellow. Is that good enough for me? No. Not good enough. But it's a couple of pills you take every other week. Who can do that? Every other week, sometimes once a month. How easy is that? So at some point, your symptoms start to go away. You have to be persistent to get all of those metals out of your body, even when your symptoms are gone, so that you can be healthy when you're 60 or 70 or 80, because we agree. What you came here tonight to learn about was to build confidence, the health and strength of your body for life. That's why you're here, right? For life. So I am really picky about who I accept into our program, because I don't have that quick fix. I don't have that magic pill. We have a process that works every time when you want it strongly enough to do some things that are hard and to do the right thing long. When it gets easy, do the right thing long. So number 1, heavy metals, lead and mercury. If you've ever had a mercury filling, even if you got it removed, if you got it removed incorrectly, that's another, put that in your bucket also, because that's another exposure. If you've ever gotten vaccinations, that's a mercury exposure. Number 2, biotoxins and co-infections. So bio means living. Mold releases a spore, which is what people could be allergic to. The spore carries a toxin. It's the toxin that makes the body sick. So mold is one. Lyme. There is now a test for Lyme that's very accurate. And very many times when we see conditions like autoimmune or MS or ALS or Parkinson's, very often Lyme is one of the components of that. And we know that now because we have an accurate test. Now, your doctor's not likely to run that because there's no drug for Lyme. And it's a lot of work to specialize in Lyme. And the doctors are already overworked, taking care of so many sick people with medications that they can't also be Lyme specialists. The other thing is co-infections, like Epstein-Barr. If you've ever had Lyme, you've got Epstein-Barr. Or if you've got parasites or pathogens. So that is part of our program, is to get rid of those biotoxins. So think about that. If you've ever been bitten by a spider, if you had dogs that had ticks, most people who have Lyme never remember getting bitten by a tick and never got the bullseye rash. Because think about it. The ticks, if they're in the trees and they land on your head and then you wash your hair, how easy would that be for you to get stung by a tick and never know, right? It can be transmitted sexually, it can be transmitted at birth. So number 3, environmental toxins. The average American woman, now we say women because we tend to have more product on us than men do, right? The average American woman is exposed to over 500 chemicals every day. Most of them never tested. 200 of them proven to cause cancer. None of them tested in combination. They are obesogens. What does it sound like that's causing? Yeah, you can figure that out easily, right? Which is what you said in the very beginning. When you've got too many toxins, your body will add fat cells to store the toxins because at least they won't kill you immediately if they're stored in the fat. So think about all those times that you've dieted and you have fussed and whined and complained because you couldn't lose weight and your body was protecting you. I believe your body does the right thing at the right time, always. I believe your body always does the best it can under the circumstances. So when you can't lose weight, there is a reason for that. So instead of getting frustrated, do something about it. Do something different. Because if you keep on doing the same thing, what are you going to keep on getting? The same results, right? So, metals, biotoxins, environmental toxins.
Which is the definition of it.
It is. It is. And you guys are way too smart to keep on doing the same stinking thing over and over, right? So in your bucket, I want you to put down, just put PCP, personal care products, because you cannot list all of them. There's no room in your bucket. Put household cleaning products, HCP, chlorine. Where do you get chlorine every day? From your water. Where do you get fluoride every day? Your water. Where do you get flame retardants every day? That's a trick one. Everything, your clothing, your bed, your car, your computer, your TVs, all of those things stop the iodine. Chlorine, fluoride, bromine. So list those in your bucket. Those toxins stop the iodine and interfere with thyroid function. So you see now, it's a big chlorine, fluoride, and bromine. Bromine, B-R-O-M-I-N-E, is a flame retardant. So you see, it's a lot, isn't it? It's a really big program to get better. And some of you are just ready to make a baby step. So that's when you follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search for Tammy Stewart CHC and watch all those YouTube videos. Take some steps because you deserve to get some improvement, right? How many of you have learned something tonight? Hopefully every single one of you. Thank you. Is that knowledge going to transform your life tomorrow just because it's in your brain? Maybe. If you what? If you use it. If the knowledge motivates you to take action. So follow us on Facebook. That's little bitty baby steps that you can do. Some of you are ready to do whatever it takes to get better, right? Well, if my clicker will go, we've already talked about that. This is my reminder. 2. Look at this page. I'm going to interpret this for you. If your score is over 100, that is severe. That is severe toxicity. If your score is above 50, that is for sure. That's confirmation you have symptoms of neurotoxicity. If your score is less than 50, you're headed that direction. And if you don't do something different, what's going to keep on happening to your health? It's going to keep on getting worse. So that's the interpretation of this page. I want to share with you a story of one of my clients. When she came to me, she was afraid that she was going to lose her job. She was the primary breadwinner for her family. They had 8 children. She would go to work, and she would come home and go to bed. Now, what kind of life is that? Does any of you feel like that? Like you're so tired? I'm sorry. That breaks my heart for you and for everybody around you. Because the world was being robbed of this woman's life, of the light that she could be. And she came to me, and she had no choice. She had to do this. She had been everywhere and done everything else. What we do makes perfect sense, doesn't it? It's perfectly logical that it would work every time. So she started doing the hard things because her life was worth it, because her children were worth it. And she got better very quickly. When she first came to me, her score was 52. She had 7 severe symptoms. When she retook this quiz recently, she had 5 problems. All of them were a 1. She had one of them that scored a 2. 4 of them were a 1. How many of you would like to have that? Would you call that success? Absolutely. That would be success. So the next action step for you, I told you in the beginning that I would share with you the thing that I know is the best thing for you to do to get transformation, right? We agreed I would share that with you. So Heather, if you would pass out those forms, what you need from me is one-on-one time. Because each of you is unique. We need to do a health history to figure out what's been causing the problem. Because that would give you some peace, right? Don't you already feel a little bit more peace because you know you're not crazy? Right? It's not in your head. It's not your fault. So you're already feeling better. And when we do a one-on-one appointment and figure out exactly in your life what has been causing this problem, that's going to make you feel even more empowered to overcome the problem. So in our first appointment, it's going to be one-on-one, you and me, and we're going to do a custom consultation. We're going to do some tests in the appointment. First of all, we're going to measure your cellular inflammation. It's a urine test. So we'll measure cellular inflammation. And I do have another slide in a minute that's going to say this again. The second test we're going to do is a beta-oxy test. It's a vision test that measures inflammation in your optic nerve. And we're going to do a Tanita test to measure your body composition and an orthostatic blood pressure test. Our purpose is to identify the cause of the problem. This is an application process. We don't accept everyone as a client. I have to know that you and I are a good fit. Because if you came into our program and you weren't ready, or you weren't committed enough, and you didn't do the hard things, and you didn't get results, then how would you feel? Terrible. You would feel frustrated, right? And I want to avoid that. I want my clients to feel empowered and get success. So I will accept someone who's committed, who is ready and committed to do what it takes to get better. So the first test, the beta-oxy test. This test tells us if your cells are inflamed and aging more rapidly. Anybody want to get older faster? No, you don't want to get older faster. You want to get younger, right? And I do have a measurement for that. I'll share that in a second. This test is 50 times more accurate than a blood test at measuring the inflammation that makes you hurt all over. That inflammation that ruins all of your hormones. Many of you, when I got to visit with you before the talk, said, my hormones, all of my hormones are just out of whack. We're going to measure the inflammation that's causing that. The next test we're going to do is a vision test. It will tell me if metals and environmental toxins are causing that problem or if biotoxins might be a part of the problem. The next test is the Tanita body composition analysis. The first time you get on this, I'm going to tell you, it's no fun. We're going to see how much you weigh. We're going to see what your fat percent is. We're also going to see what your total body water percent, which is a measurement of cellular congestion. And we're going to measure your metabolic age. So right now, that's no fun. But let me tell you what is fun. This is Cheryl's story. She had been working with me less than 5 months. So what is that? Less than 20 weeks. She had lost 17 pounds. That's almost a pound a week. Who would want that? Yeah, absolutely. She had gone from 39 to 32% body fat. She was loving that scale. She was loving that report right there, because when you get on your scale at home, which weighs more, muscle or fat? Muscle. Fat's bigger, muscle's heavier, and your scale doesn't tell you the difference. If your clothes are falling off, but your scale is staying the same, you can kind of figure out, okay, I must be losing fat. So she went from 39 to 32. Her muscle mass stayed the same. Even though she had lost 17 pounds, she was losing fat, not muscle. Her total body water increased, which meant her cellular inflammation was going down. So that was a measure of how she was feeling. She said, I wake up in the morning singing in the shower. Is that cool? She woke up in the morning feeling that good. Her metabolic age on the Tanita was 19 years younger. That's what my clients love about this machine. They'll come to the office just to get on the machine. How many of you love to get on scales? Right now, no. The scale says, oh, your metabolic age is 5 years younger. That's encouraging. It's going to make you want to do the hard stuff, right? And you get results. So, the value of that first appointment series with us, you've got the consultation value, a couple of $1,000s. All of those tests that we do could be worth $3,500, so the total is $5,500 more than that. But yet, to identify what's causing the problem, isn't that like priceless? Isn't that powerful to know what's causing the problem? That's where the value is. Now, right now, you have a choice. You can keep doing what you've been doing. Right? You can. You can do that. If you do that, how are you going to feel? You're going to keep on feeling the same. Those same symptoms that you have right now. And in the beginning, when I asked you about cancer, and I had to say, my dad had cancer. And it was a miserable 6 months. It was not living. It was not. It was misery for 6 months. Because he didn't know what we know. If we had known then what I know now, we could have prevented it. Isn't prevention better than treatment? Every single time? What does cancer cost? Life. Hundreds of thousands. It costs you your life. It cost him his life. It costs you quality. It costs you time with your family. It costs you pleasure in your life. He would have given anything if we could have gone back in time. I feel like the pain of regret is one of the greatest pains. Do you think? So you could keep on, that's your choice. You could keep on doing what you've been doing. Or you can decide that today is your day to make a different choice. It's like you're at a fork in the road. Make a different choice. And tonight, you can go to bed with peace, knowing that you're doing something different. You're going to take control of your health. You're going to get better. Because you trust that your body can get better. And you can have that faith. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, you can have peace knowing that you did the best you could for whom? For you and everybody. For your spouse. For your children. For your great-grandchildren. For your friends. For the people that you work with. That is your choice. And Misty made that choice for herself. And then all 3 of her children joined us in our program. They were all sick. And they got their life back. And she would tell you it was worth everything. Imagine 3 kids, when they started working with me, she had 3 kids under the age of 6. And she was changing their diet for all of them. She was doing supplements for all of them. That's a lot of work, right? Is there anything you wouldn't do for your children? will do everything. She says it is worth it every single time. Now, I want to make the choice easy for you tonight. I want to help as many of you as I can. I don't want money to be the reason that you walk out of here sick. I want you to have an option. So on your form, the cost of our initial appointment is regular $594, but tonight you're getting a special. That is my gift to you because you invested your time tonight and because I want to help as many of you as possible. So your special, if you'll write this down, $297 is your special for tonight, for that first appointment. Sometimes, later becomes never. Have you ever done that? And we go right back there to the pain of regret, right? So now is the best time to do it. If you have questions, sometimes people come to me after the talk and they want to ask a lot of questions. And I really can't answer that because the people are going to come in and start taking up the chairs. And because you deserve one-on-one time with me. So the appointment is when you and I can have one-on-one time together. We can have privacy. I can give you quality time to answer your questions. When you make an appointment, we're going to send you an email. It's going to have directions to our office because the office is tricky. It's going to have paperwork, and we're going to have some videos for you to watch. So your homework is going to be about an hour. So if you want to make an appointment for tomorrow morning, I can do that, but be sure that you have time to get your homework done before your appointment. So in order for you to make an appointment, you can fill out that form. Fill out all the information on that form. On the wall, see we have those colored Post-its. The first row, the pink row, is our appointments available tomorrow. The yellow row is Friday, and the green row is Monday. So you can fill out your paperwork, go over to the wall, take one of those things off the wall, take it to Heather in the back, and then she'll tear off the bottom part. You're going to take home the bottom piece of that because that has our information and the date and time of your appointment. Okay? So that's all of our house cleaning there. Let me tell you where the office is. It's kind of, because it's tricky. It's on Highway 26, which is Colleyville Boulevard, which is Grapevine Highway, which is R.E. Woods, right? Those of you who live here, you know, it's got 4 names. So, you've got the highway, the railroad tracks on one side. So it's obviously, it's on the other side, away from the railroad tracks. If you know where 121 Community Church is, it's kind of new. It's been there about a year or 2. And North Texas Orthopedics, those are both on the road. And then there's a shopping plaza between those two. Our building is behind the shopping plaza. It's really tricky. There's all kinds of leaves on the tree. You almost can't see the building and you can't see the sign. So, it's tricky. You have to want to find us. When you see that information in your email, know that you need it. You are going to need that information. It's inside TMJ Wellness. There are a couple of other doctors that worked in our office. And that's why you should make it a Yes?
Would this be considered as preventative care? And can we,
Tell me why you're asking.
seeing if
About your insurance. This is wellness, and your medical insurance, what does your medical insurance do? Yeah, it treats disease.
if they
And
do
this
say
is
it's
not
100% preventative care?
Okay, so do you have like an HSA card or something?
Yeah.
Sometimes HSA cards will work. Sometimes they will. And you know, 10 years ago they didn't, but now sometimes they do. So you need to stop and think about why. Because your purpose will motivate you to do the hard things. When you think about, is it worth the money and the effort, if you knew for a fact that you could get your life back, how much would it be worth? When it was my son in high school, how much money would I have paid? What? There's not even a word for it, is there? It would be offensive to put a number on it. It's worth everything. You have to know your purpose. Why are you on this earth? What do you want to accomplish in your life? Do you want to keep feeling sick, or do you want to get better? That's the reason that you should live life, when you know that you have a purpose. For me, my purpose is my grandkids. Because of what my grandmother went through. And I want to able to participate in my kids' and my grandkids' lives. That's my purpose, and it's worth everything, absolutely everything.